Welcome back to Loose and Reckless. I'm your host, Ray. We have a wonderful video today. I have two of the most important, influential people in my life and in my military career coming and talking to you on a plethora of subjects. If you guys like the content, like and subscribe, share it to whoever needs to be shared to. You know, give us plenty of comments. And if you guys want to see these people back, and we talk some more about other topics, drop it on in the comment section. All right. We're going to cover a few topics of Elon Musk, Doge, the secretary appointment. We got a fun show for you guys, so I hope you enjoy it. The first person I want to talk about is First Sergeant Mitchell. He was one of my last first sergeants before I ETS'd and got on out of the service. Love him to death. He's done a great job for himself. He owns a drone business and he's got a wonderful YouTube channel. I'm gonna let him plug it, and we're gonna have that in the description underneath. I think he got two of them actually, but we're gonna have him plug it on in here. There you go. What's up, Top?
I love you, man. So good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Go way back, and we spent so many days together accomplishing missions, me and you. I'm so proud you invited me on Loose and Reckless. I'm not ready to get some loose and reckless. Let's go, man. Let's go.
All right. And the next guy is Sergeant First Class retired Billy Jones. I don't think I would be as loose and reckless if it wasn't for Sergeant First Class Billy Jones. But hey, I get it from him. You know what I mean? He's big brother from another mother. He's done wonderful for himself. He retired, went on to work for private sector contracting, and he's got a lot to say because he's still in it. All right. So here you go, Billy Jones. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? Hey,
I can't call it.
Two First Sergeant Mitchells that you work for. I didn't know your name was Mitchell.
No, Marshall.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Mitchell.
Yeah, man.
Mitchell wasn't bad, but you'd rather be Marshall than Mitchell.
Hey, for sure. Right. All right, so we got a couple topics, man. I want to bring up this first video and let's talk, because this kind of is directly sensitive topics to us as veterans, and the way we see the military is going to be shaped over the next few years by these appointees. And one of the appointees that I want to talk about is Pete Hegseth. All right. He's getting a lot of different attacks coming from multiple positions, womanizer, accusers, alcoholic, all types of things. And you all know he was a combat veteran. He's been out there, and you know how we are. Sometimes, that's what ends up happening. You come back, your mind's a little bit off. You might do a little drinking, but does that hold any bearing towards him being an appointee? And is it okay for these people to, malign him? And what do you guys think on him being appointed? So I'm gonna play this for you guys real quick, and you guys can let me know how you feel about it.
In the building. Donald Trump has chosen Pete Hegseth, a combat veteran and former Fox News host, as his next Secretary of Defense.
Well, it's definitely controversial. It was very out of the blue. Pete Hegseth is going to be a disruptor, and he's going to come in and go to war with the Pentagon culture and the Pentagon system.
And if the military goes woke, it's less equipped to fight the wars it needs to fight.
I would say what he's best known for is being a right-wing firebrand who's been an outspoken supporter of the Trump and the MAGA movements.
I'm surprised they're not handing ballots to the illegals when they cross the border. Yep. I mean, that would just make it a lot more efficient based on their viewpoint.
Here's what Trump's unorthodox pick means for the federal government's largest department.
A lot of SecDefs have had experience as top leaders in the military. Secretary Austin, the current defense secretary, he was a 4-star general. Previous SecDefs have had experience in civilian leadership in the building. So that kind of thing, some kind of leadership role in national security in the federal government or in the military. Pete Hegseth was an infantry officer in the Army National Guard. He deployed to both Iraq and Afghanistan and served in Guantanamo Bay. And he retired at the rank of major.
After serving in combat zones, Hegseth joined Fox News in 2014 and rose the ranks to on-air host. The 44-year-old Minnesota native is known for criticizing the military's current culture.
He said point blank that he would fire any generals that he considers too woke, meaning too involved in diversity and inclusion programs.
Our strength is not in our diversity, but in our unity.
He specifically named General C.Q. Brown, who's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. He's only the second Black man ever to be named to that role. He's also said he is against women in combat.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. It hasn't made us more effective, hasn't made us more lethal, has made fighting more complicated.
Following Trump's nominations, some of Hegseth's past viral moments resurfaced.
I don't think I've washed my hands for 10 years. Really, I don't really wash my hands ever.
Help me!
Including the time Hegseth accidentally hit a drummer with an axe during a live broadcast on Fox and Friends in June 2015.
Oh, man.
During the first Trump administration, Hegseth was a big advocate for MAGA policies. He used his show and his social media platform to promote a lot of Trump's policies. He advocated for Trump to pardon soldiers who had been accused of war crimes.
Then they go kill the enemy the way someone doesn't like, and then we put him in jail or we throw the book at them.
Trump has always been very friendly with him and thinks very highly of him. So I think they have a good relationship. They became friends, and that's probably part of the reason he got the job. He's likely to not oppose any of Trump's efforts to do things like send troops to the southern border or to quell protests in American cities.
Hegseth's nomination has come under fire for both his views and his lack of high-level administrative experience.
Certainly there are Democratic lawmakers that have spoken out saying that he's unqualified for the job. He's never held any government leadership position. They would need several Republicans to defect and vote against him in order to tank his nomination. And it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. It seems like everyone's going to fall in line.
Trump appears to be sending a clear message by appointing Hegseth to lead the military.
He's signaling that this person will come in and be reformer of the culture of the Pentagon. We also broke the news a couple days ago that the Trump transition team is considering an executive order that would create an outside board that would look at firing 3- and 4-star generals. So I think he's also going to probably create a culture of fear where 3- and 4-star generals are worried about saying the wrong thing or offending the wrong person and will have to try not to get fired by this outside board. So I think it sends a chilling effect for sure. I think also the focus on internal Pentagon issues takes focus away from focus on issues abroad, like what's going on in Israel, what's going on in Ukraine. So I think it potentially could take the focus away from those external battles to focus on internal ones.
All right. So, Top, tell me, what do you feel about him being a major, coming in and having the power to be able to say yay or nay to 5-star generals? Do you think that's appropriate in any kind of measure, especially on the national level and global level?
Yes, I absolutely do. I think that the fact that he has held the jobs that he's held, he's in a uniquely qualified situation, in my opinion, to do everything that Trump is asking to do. He has been on the ground in different, looking back on it, illegal war zones where we were laundering money and moving oil and opium at will with the CIA. He's been there and has talked about it daily on Fox News. He's interviewed all kinds of people. He is, in my opinion, uniquely qualified. Now, remember that I also served under Lloyd Austin. Lloyd Austin was my battalion commander. Right? I was the little stinger guy that went down and joined up with Lloyd Austin's battalion as we went off to war in the 82nd. I stood and looked at that tower of a man.
Right.
And shook his hand. I was a jump master instructor and went and did a a special jumpmaster breakfast for his unit. That's the first time I ever met him. He was huge and so smart, and he's an amazing guy. But he's not the guy that we want as our Secretary of Defense.
Okay.
Cross the line at some point. I've seen him at 2 naval officer, Naval Academy graduations the past 2 years. I've watched him give speeches. He goes to Australia, to Japan. He goes to all of these places, and he makes all of these backdoor deals. He's just nothing more than a pawn of the defense contractors. That's all he is. Okay. And to say that he's anything less it's just a lie. It's just a pure lie. Now, that guy, when he was my battalion commander, I'd have climbed any mountain. I'd have gone way further than anybody else thought was possible for that guy. But because of who he was. But at some point, we need to be talking about peace at a different level.
Right.
And I think that he's on somebody Lockheed's payroll. You see that poster right there? That poster is in the hall of Lockheed Martin. Bigger than life size. Okay.
Right.
Bigger than life size. Currently in Lockheed Martin, Orlando. My dad worked for Lockheed. He was a head missile salesman. He knows all about it. I know all about how it works.
Right.
So Pete Hegseth, to answer your question, is exactly who we need. That's exactly who we need. I also know Colonel Russ Bodine, who currently works in the Pentagon, and I talk to him a lot. Ray, he was our battalion commander before Korea. Okay, he is now part of the anti-drone UAP task force. He's read in at the highest level. I've asked to interview him. He has asked the government to be able to do an interview with me, and they have told him absolutely ixnay on the interview. No, you will not have an interview about having an interview with you. And he agrees that the culture is bad, right? He agrees that there is something missing in between the strength of power and leadership that you and I know, Ray, and Colonel Bodine knows, versus something. I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm rooting.
No, you're good.
Okay, but let me tell you, I interviewed General Woods the other day. Okay, he is a retired general in the Air Defense Branch. He's an amazing man, and he told me that when he was getting ready to become a 2-star general, he realized what they were asking of him, and he had to retire. Okay. I've also interviewed the Army general who lobbies Congress. That's his job. If you go look at my interview with General Breedenkamp, his job in the Army is to lobby Congress. And he's an influential man.
So I can tell that you're 100% for Pete Hegseth and the change that could be coming with this. What about you, Billy? Sergeant First Class Jones. What do you think?
So it's funny. So one of the things that I laughed at when we were listening to the video, when they said that generals being nervous about what they can and can't say, and the first thing I thought to myself was like they ain't already nervous right now, and that that ain't already happening. So that was the funny part. Is like it just depends on who you're nervous about. But so that was funny when they said that. But I ain't gonna say that. So first off, I've been watching that dude's videos for a good while, and I agree with everything that he said. Almost everything he says, I agree with. Now I will say that with coming being a leader, the way that he approaches things, when you start being a leader on that level, you gotta watch what you're saying. And that's one of his shortfalls or shortcomings, is that he probably like us. He don't care. And that's yeah. And I like that, but at the same time, Ray, I told you this a million times. I felt like that a lot of things Donald Trump did were miss. People took it the wrong way just because of the way that he said it. So I feel like he's got to fix that. He got to fix. You can't just jump up and say some wild shit. You gotta think about what you're about to say and say it in a way so that nobody can take the narrative from you and change that shit into something else. And now use your words as a weapon. You got to make it to where if you're gonna talk shit about me, then I'm not gonna help you. So that's one thing.
Right.
I will say, I don't. Unlike First Sergeant, I don't know how I feel about First Sergeant. We don't own a lot of majors. I don't know how I feel about a major being in charge of much of shit. I mean, and on top of that, and this ain't no slight against what he did, but a major in the National Guard. I was a recruiter for a while, and we had to deal with the National Guard a lot. And I'm telling you, it's a big difference between an active duty major and a National Guard major. And a major, period. Now, not to say that this guy is not a regular major and that he, just because he got out, and that could be it. He just didn't stay in. And if he didn't stay in, he went on and, had a career somewhere else. For them to say leadership, I'm not going to say that a major can't be, he doesn't have the leadership experience, because they don't talk about what else he did after he got out of there. Obviously, he didn't retire that I know of. But my thing is, the average person, when they say he was a major in the Army, they don't even know what the hell that means. But I know what the hell that means.
Right.
I just, I don't know what he did after he got out, what everything, what experience he had after he got out. But I mean, I would say, if he was a major yesterday and got out today, and then you said this major wants to be it, I'd be like, hell no. And that's really, but I don't know enough. I like what he said. I like everything that he said. I'm on board with him. And honestly, that's really probably the only thing that's my apprehension with the dude is when I hear a ex-major, I'm like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? Ex-major, like, man.
We still have to take in consideration that he might be the top guy, right? But just like First Sergeant, you were the top sergeant in every platoon, but you would have sergeant first classes that ran 3 or 4 platoons underneath you that may be stronger in certain areas that you could recognize that you weren't. And they would cover down for you in those areas if you're a good leader. Am I right?
I don't think that's the case with a major.
No,
I'm telling you, that's just a weird.
All right, Billy. Let me tell you what. Let me get loose and reckless on Billy.
Yeah.
Think about the major thing, okay? Here's the thing about the major, okay? He's a current major, okay, or a recent major. It's not like he's a retired, like we're a graybeard, and all he was a certain rank, okay? He's currently of that age, and he's currently that generation where he is a major or recently stopped being a major. Okay?
Yeah.
He has deployed soldiers at the squad, platoon, company level. I'll tell you what, that's where leadership is, okay? And then the second thing I'll tell you is that he's got 17 steps ahead of most of these. If you look back at all of the rest of the Secretary of Defenses, these guys ain't spent no time in the dang Army. They're yo-yos, Secretary. They're people. They're just political appointees, okay?
That makes sense.
So you got to throw that stuff out. And then the next thing I'm going to say, and this is the final point I'm going to say, I have really good friends that are some of the most amazing leaders you ever met. And they retired and they were a general. Okay, a general. And they had to fight tooth and nail to get elected to their county commission.
Yeah.
Okay? They were generals. We looked at them and saluted them and placed them at a stature like you have no idea. But what happens is that the entire system works together to elevate that person. When you lose that framework, man, you're just another citizen. When you take that rank off your collar and you go out and I'm no longer first sergeant, people no longer yell at ease when I walk out of the door, and it's like, what? Come on, man. You're supposed to yell at ease, ain't you?
Yeah.
And what happens, I've found, is that people like Pete Hegseth that have gotten national attention as a thinker that has an appropriate background, that's the person that I want Trump to pick to be the leader, right? That's why I love Trump, is because he has the ability to, especially now, especially this time, because of the mandate, he has the ability to pick who he wants and put them in place. He's got Congress, he's got the Senate, he's got the judges. We have a chance to make America great again. And it's really what we all want. We want to be Americans. We want to be happy Americans. We're not looking for ways to divide ourselves. Not us, that's not it at all. We're looking for ways to get together. But if we just listen to that lady that talked on the news, on that little thing, every slant that she could to slight,
absolutely,
every little, it wasn't overt, okay? It was very like like what my middle daughter would do sometimes when she would snip back at me, right? Because she knows me, right? You know what I mean? We're like, oh, ow. And so that's what she's doing on her whole story for that whole clip. So here's what I am. I'm a pro thinker. I want somebody, Ray, that's why I fought for you, man. That's why I fought for you, because you could think your way through things, and I knew you were on the team, right? That's what we want. We want somebody that's loyal and that's smart enough to know when to call for help, and then smart enough to plan training that's appropriate. We don't ask for more, right? We want somebody that'll follow their 3 general orders over and over and over again.
Right. What do you think, Billy? What do you think about the controversial statement of him saying no women downrange in combat? And I know this is a touchy topic because I know with our unit 173rd, when we were out there, people don't understand how much of a distraction for hard up 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old individuals to stay focused in those type of areas and not overly covered down for somebody that may or may not be able to carry their load at the moment. There's a level of sympathy that me and another male soldier may not have in a certain situation versus a female that may be breaking down in a situation, and I may be totally distracted by her breaking down compared to, say, if it was another one of my male soldiers or colleagues. What do you think about that? Is that a real concern, or is that something that I'm kind of just throwing around?
I mean, it's everything what you just said and way more. And you know this. I mean, we all know this. It just is what it is. I mean, I had very little contact with females in the Army, except for like coming to your barracks room and seeing them in there. You know what I mean? I mean, then I became a recruiter. And that was my first real contact with females. And that was only a couple of years, and it was recruited. So it wasn't a whole lot, but even just that little bit, the little physical stuff, I'd be like, yeah, this ain't what's up, like, at all. I mean, well, okay, I'll take that back. In PLDC, I remember one of the biggest ones was in PLDC, when they make you do your small squad level, little whatever the hell it was. Somebody had to plan the what you were going to do, the movement, the move to contact, whatever it was you were going to do. We planned that, one person be in charge. It was like maybe in PLDC, it might have been like 5 girls in there, and they put 1 woman in each one of the squads. And at the time, we had the 60 caliber machine gun, and the 60, what the hell it was. At the time, we had that, and I remember, when you would walk, and you got your ruck weighing like 60 pounds, you got all your other equipment, your weapon, but you rotate the 60 from person to person. And when you would rotate it to the female, it would almost immediately be like, she can't carry it. So now you got to rotate back to us. So now,
Do you think is there credits to that argument that as long as they can meet the standards, if they can if they can rise to the standard, does that change anything?
I feel like if they can meet the standards, then no problem. The problem is, even if they can meet the standard, because she's a female and her body is so different, how long can she stay out there? How long? Another instance of one of the few times I ever worked with females, aerosol school. How long is that school? 2 weeks, I think it is.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah.
First week, we all rucking. It was like a female that was keeping up with all the guys. By the end of it, 12 mile road march, she barely made it because her body couldn't take 2 weeks of.
Yeah. You
ask me, much or nothing. Aerosol school is not hard. That was I basically did that shit half asleep. It wasn't hard. And, by the end of the final week, sucking, and I was like shocked. I couldn't believe that I got stronger as we went on. And by the end of the school, that 12 mile road march, however long it is you got to finish it, she barely made it. And I was like, dang it. Like, just even though she was able to meet the standard, eventually, because it was so different, her body was doing different shit than mine was. And mine was getting stronger, and hers was like back there struggling. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, all of us, man, old school soldiers, we came in at a different time that we didn't play those games. Like, let's play like the truth is not the truth. And we never had these situations where we even had to be confronted with this or worry about this stuff because it just was what it was. Now we want to, play like that, shit.
Yes.
That, some chick is doing a motherfucking CrossFit. Same thing. No, that's not the same shit. That is absolutely not what's about. She is not about to get a weight that is designed for you to lift and be able to lift it. Like, see, I can do the same thing, but when I put it on a ruck and it's not designed for, can you continue to do this, and how long before your body falls apart? And I'm like, it doesn't. If the risk actually made it to where it was either at least equal, it would make sense. But seeing as that I don't see that there's nothing to be gained by it, then why are we even playing this game? So
that's a valid point. That's a valid point. That's a valid point. All right. So next topic, I want to talk about Doge. Just briefly to introduce into the topic of Elon Musk and his plans for the F-35 program. Just to catch the viewers up, if they are not in tune, let me run this real quick.
We also need to ask Liz Miller what she thinks about all this. The newly minted Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, expected to lob a shattering blow at federal bureaucracy and redundancies. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy both act as co-leaders. Listen to this.
Over $500 billion that's spent every year right now was not even authorized by Congress in the first place. They can't even tell you where it goes. We've talked a big game for 40 years about cutting the federal government, about reducing the scope of the federal government. Politicians haven't been able to do it. And so Elon and I, we're not politicians. We're businessmen. We're coming at it from the outside.
Mr. Wonderful. Kevin O'Leary is the chairman of O'Leary Ventures, and he joins us now. So, Kevin, back in 2010, the Simpson-Bowles Commission proved that it's not hard to find waste, fraud, and abuse in places to cut spending. What's hard is getting Congress to go through with it. Is that going to be any different this time around?
Yes, it will be different. What Bowles didn't have at that time was the megaphone Elon Musk has. You got to remember, politicians have to raise money. These days, they do it using social media. Now, what Elon has, that people keep forgetting, because they say, well, he doesn't have a legislative mandate here. And I say, oh, he's got better than that. He's got X. So what happens is you're in some state somewhere and you own a project to nothing and you're spending $2 billion. He just will shame you out. He'll start naming to all of your voters exactly what you've done wrong and what you're not doing to fix it. And I love the concept of just squeezing heads to stop waste, because all he has to do is turn on the machine. Now, it's going to be very contentious. I've said this multiple times about this mandate. The power he has is not to be underestimated, because if you can get to the voter of that governor or that senator that's wasting money in his eyes, and he can make a good case on X, you're going to cause a lot of damage in that constituency. And I love this idea because it's a negotiation. That's what it is. If you don't fix this, I'm going to call you out.
Yeah, the $44 billion he spent on X might seem like a bargain in the long run if he gets to leverage it like that. Here's a breakdown of federal spending, just so that folks at home know where their tax dollars are going. Healthcare, 25%, Social Security, 20 to 25%, defense, 13 to 15%, safety net programs, 10%, interest on the national debt, 8 to 10%. The way it breaks down is.
All right, so I put this clip in here because this is what I want to address. We have healthcare, Social Security, defense, safety. What is that? Safety net? I don't even know what safety net program.
I say I never heard of that.
See, this is the problem, right? We have healthcare, and then we have safety net programs. Wouldn't safety net and healthcare kind of
the same thing
merge together? Like, you know what I mean? Like we talking about Medicare, Medicaid. That's a safety net type of thing. Social Security, that's a safety net. But Social Security should be wrapped into healthcare. Why we have multiple departments for the same thing, right? We got national debt interest. This is one of the things that scares me the most. In national debt interest, we have 8 to 10% national debt is what that's what we're spending out of the GDP to service our debts. And just in 2020, that number was 2 to 5%. So essentially, we've doubled and almost tripled our servicing of our debt in 3.5 years.
Hey, it's
right?
like interest rate went up. It's like we got bad credit now, and the interest rate went up.
Right.
We got a 2% interest rate, now we got a 10. Because we
right. I believe that maybe the safety net needs to come down. Maybe we need to mix and mingle a little bit more in defense. I think, as a military guy, I see defense as something that is a unblockable, unmovable force. But I pulled that out.
It's a necessity. Huh? It's a necessity.
It's a necessity. Yeah. It's a necessary evil. I believe. Yes. Just like policing. To a lot of people believe police are evil. I don't. But no matter where they're at, they're necessary. Yeah. They're a necessary being in our society. You can't uphold rules, laws, and standards without somebody enforcing them. So my number one thing is worrying about how much each year we're increasing what we're using just to service our debt, just to pay the interest on our debt, not to pay some of this shit off, but just to pay the interest, and that's growing by 2 to 5%. So my premise is a Doge actually necessary? Top.
Heck yeah, it's necessary. Look at where we're at, dude. You explain all this like blah blah blah, but then you're gonna ask me as a Doge necessary? Dude, I'm about to get loose and reckless on you for asking a silly question. The thing that I think that's happened. Okay, first off, safety net. Okay, that's for natural disasters. That's for if we have this huge drought or something, or it's just kind of a program that it's catch all. Okay, I think that's what they're talking about, safety net here. Okay. Because we don't know what's coming, so we set a certain percentage aside. I guess I don't know. All these numbers are all bullshit.
I was gonna say, hey, bro, don't you think 10% is huge for disasters? That's huge, right?
Hey, everybody got $750. I mean, come on, man. I'm trying to get a hold of my money too.
That's why it's 10%, right? That's why it's 10%. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I'm trying to move to Ecuador so I can sign up for that app and I can come back in and get some of that, free money in a.
You on to something? Yeah.
Look, I mean, we talk about government efficiency. Look, we all remember the meeting because we were in it long enough. That happened about the 1st of August when they said, "Hey, we have so much money to spend. Give me your wish list on the things that you need for your platoon or your squad or your NBC, whatever you need. And then I'm submitting it to battalion so we can make sure we use up all this money." Right.
And you got to use it or you lose it.
Don't you dare come up a couple $1,000s short or don't, don't. If you don't absolutely fill that line all the way to the top, and some of your stuff got, you know, we all sent these wish lists up, and some of it didn't make the cut, you know, and
Right,
you didn't
right.
get to go lobby for it. They just figured what made sense and bought what they bought. And I'll never forget being the battalion. I was the battery credit card holder for my unit when I was staff sergeant. And so everything my commander spent, I had to sign off on it, and all these things. We'd go shopping with the supply sergeant. It was fun as hell, but man, we was spending some money, boy. We was having a good time.
All right, so that's a perfect segue into this. So you spoke about Lockheed Martin earlier. Wonderful coincidence. This is the Lockheed Martin CEO, current CEO, actually reacting to Elon Musk criticizing the F-35 program. This is going to be a touchy topic because
wait a minute. This is the president of Lockheed Martin reacting to
CEO, the CEO
reacting to what he said about
to what Elon Musk said.
This already bogus. This already bogus.
What Elon Musk said about the F-35 program, and also he wants to change how much we're spending on the F-35 program. According to the Department of Defense, we have a $1 trillion a year budget, $1 trillion a year for F-35 technology. All right, so
at the Reagan National Defense Forum, I was joined by, among others, Jim Taiclet, the CEO and chairman of Lockheed Martin, for a panel focused on securing space. But I also asked Taiclet to respond to renewed criticism of the stealthy F-35, which Lockheed makes, after Elon Musk recently slammed the fighter jet on X in favor of more spending on drones, even as the aircraft was integral to Israel's widespread retaliatory strikes on Iran back in October.
It goes back to multiple options and redundancy, having different approaches that an adversary cannot, with one fell swoop, take out your entire mission capability. So, and you have to have a time scale to this, right? Drones are absolutely going to be part of the future of the air dominance app or the air dominance mission, but we have to methodically step through where we are at time zero. What aircraft do we have today? What command and control systems do we have today? What missiles do we have today? What does the potential adversary have, and how are they using it? And step forward and bringing in that technology. I'm pretty sure that a $25,000 drone will have no effect on a Chinese J-20 jet. When you see 400 J-20s coming across the Taiwan Strait, you better have 200 NGADs or F-35s or F-22s to meet them, or you will lose, and you will lose right away. And the Israelis did demonstrate this in one of their missions, which was precision strike. They used, they didn't say, the Israeli government has not said what aircraft they used, but an ally that was involved in it, one of their senior officials, said it was 5th generation. If you add 5th generation in the same sentence as Israel, you can come to your own conclusion. And that mission is so successful, it basically eliminated the sophisticated Iranian air defense system and a number of very specialized targets to take out their entire ballistic missile production system without losing a single airplane. I mean, this is an amazing demonstration of where this technology is. We can augment this technology, and we are, and this is public so I can say it, but we demonstrated to the Secretary of the Air Force about 2 months ago in a classified setting, and a month before that in an unclassified setting, that we can right now have an F-35, pilot has a knee board with a tablet on it, just like you've probably got in your briefcase, and he or she can control 8 collaborative combat aircraft off an iPad while still flying the jet and do it effectively.
So F-35s were also used in yesterday's U.S. strikes in Syria on ISIS targets as well. Speaking of drones, unmanned systems, and the AI to operate them has been a big focus. A flurry of companies, including publicly traded Kratos and unicorn startups like Anduril Industries and Shield AI, were in attendance this past weekend. In light of DOGE and a possible shift in defense spending priorities expected under Trump, companies offering products at lower cost with an ability to deliver quickly are making their cases. So take AeroVironment, which makes the Puma reconnaissance drone and the Switchblade loitering munitions. CEO Wahid Nawabi telling me deterrence, as we have long understood it, is no longer efficient.
We're faced with a complete different set of threats
and adversaries around the world. The type of war that we fought for the last 50 to 100 years, since World War II, it's just not the same. It's
all right. So on that topic, right? In my personal opinion, I understand where this last CEO, Avav, whatever, warfare will be different. And coming at things, you know, the way things were versus where they're going is two different things. I stand on the side personally of I want to see more innovation. And what better than a guy that just sent his own rocket up to the space station, bring back astronauts we couldn't get our damn self to come back down and land its own self, right? To have a platform to speak on this. I may be wrong, you know. I don't know, but both of these guys' audience are experts. First Sergeant Marshall has his own drone business, so there's the military mixing in with capitalism, mixing in with his own hobbyists and enjoyment to actually see it from a purview that most of you won't and I won't. And then Sergeant First Class Billy Jones, you know, he's actually out here working with the latest technology and training soldiers on them with drone technology. So from this perspective, Billy, what do you think? Is this a good idea to be trying to reallocate funds from F-35s to drone technology?
So it depends on how deep you cut it. First off, actually, a few of those drones they were talking about, I can't say a whole lot about because, you know.
Yeah.
It depends on how deep you cut it, and a lot of the drones they're talking about are not that cheap. So, like for instance, the one they talked about at the end there, the Switchblade, that's a $250,000 drone, and that shit either blows the hell up on a target or blows the hell up in the desert. So it's trash. Once you fired it, that's $250K gone, and that adds up real quick.
Right.
I would say definitely. To me, if you ask me, I mean, first off, we got to stay. I mean, I don't know if I'm sure you guys know this. We've had a problem in the military for years of lagging behind. Y'all notice the artillery, the United States' artillery is way behind where it should be, way behind where it should have been, and they still don't really seem to have an answer on how to fix it. They're coming up with a lot of cool stuff, but it's not really fixing the fact that we've let, like me and you were talking about a couple of days ago, Ray, we start talking peer-to-peer conflict. When your peers start catching up to where we are, we're supposed to be generations ahead of these people, and they start catching up on any category. That's a problem. That's my fear for if we cut too deep into this program, is that we mess around and we allow a peer-to-peer situation where these folks are getting closer to where we are, and we definitely don't want that. Now, that being said, $1 trillion a year, I mean, I don't think they need $1 trillion a year being spent to stay ahead, because China ain't spending that much. Shit, China haven't catching hell just trying to steal our shit and copy it. They still ain't copying it, and they coming up with bullshit. I mean, so it is what it is. But that's my only fear, is how deep do you cut, how far back do you go, because you still want to stay ahead of our adversaries enough to where we're always so far ahead that when we do meet them on the battlefield, they're completely shocked as to what the hell they just saw. And that's what we've grown accustomed to as Americans, is that when they do catch us on the battlefield and they do see us, they're shocked. Shit, we ain't got to catch them on the battlefield. We send like somewhat of what we got to foreign countries and let them use them, and we expose Russia to be a paper tiger. And Russia ain't actually seen what the hell really they'd have to face if they went up against us. But the last thing we want to do is take what just happened in the Ukraine and confuse that. I think we so far ahead that we can cut back, and then the next thing we know, Russia is right on our because it's a whole lot easier to stay. What I always say, Ray, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. The last thing you want to do is to let somebody catch up to now you're trying to jump ahead. And there's a lot of other stuff going on that they ain't talking about that we way ahead. And that's kind of what's scary, because when you do that, but maybe it's just that program. But if you start messing with satellites, and let's start playing with how much funding we put into the satellites. Let's start playing how much funding we put into the Booker tank and stuff like that. You start playing with it. because that one thing could snowball into like, well, let's look at the whole thing, and then the next thing you know, we got a humongous problem in 20 years. So,
right. What do you think, First Sergeant?
Well, it's neat to hear. Basically, I heard the Lockheed guy and Elon saying the same thing.
Yeah,
they're saying we're going to invest more in drones.
Yeah,
Realize that he described the system that my dad worked on when he retired. When my dad said, if they ever fire this missile, it's going to be World War III. When Israel and Syria, they just did all this stuff when they attacked Iran. They used the JASM, the Joint Attack something missile. Basically, it is a stealth missile that's fired off of a stealth aircraft.
Yep.
And it can, I think it can carry a nuclear warhead.
I'm pretty sure it can.
But my father, who I was looking around over here for the plaque. My father has a plaque from where he worked on the program. That was the last place he worked with Lockheed. He looked at me in the eye one day. He said, I'm working on a program, son, that if they ever fire this, it will definitely be World War III. And I was like,
wow.
Right?
Wow.
My dad sold Hellfire missiles. Okay. He was the international sales contracts manager for Hellfire missiles. My dad would travel to Korea, to Turkey, to Australia, to Japan. And I used to joke with him that he was a Hellfire missile salesman. Okay. He wasn't a salesman, but he was the contract guy. He wrote the friggin' contract for it.
Right.
He worked on the Strategic Defense Initiative. When I was in high school, he came home with a friggin' handcuff on a briefcase with the Strategic Defense Initiative, Star Wars stuff, Reagan. Okay. My dad worked on all of that stuff. When I was a first sergeant, when I was your first sergeant, my dad called me and said, hey, send me your first sergeant picture. They're asking for pictures at Lockheed. And so I sent him my command photo, and that's what that is. That's up on their walls currently in Orlando. It's larger than life. It's huge. My buddy sent me a covert picture of it. You can't have any pictures in there. But Dad got two of those. They made two of those and brought those to Dad. I got one of them here sitting here. I'm the poster boy for Lockheed. I know a lot about all of this stuff. Listen, and this ties into another part of this that nobody's talking about, okay? The Lockheed guy painted a picture where a pilot in a real aircraft is flying along. Either side of him in some formation of his choosing, he is communicating with 8 other aircraft. Okay,
he's almost like his own fister. He's almost like his own fister on his knee. He's like a fister on his knee, and he's controlling God knows how many rockets.
The other thing that nobody's talking about, okay, Ray, that you'll understand, is that he can also fire a Patriot missile from that iPad. Okay.
Wow.
He can also fire that whatever the missile level 3 from a submarine or some other.
While he's flying. Wow.
Okay. Wow. So imagine one pilot, 8 companions that can go and do whatever they need to do. Okay. I don't know what they need, but hey, they can do it. All right.
That gives the operator at the moment split decision to look around and see what he needs at the moment and communicate on his tablet. Right? That makes sense. I do see the benefit in that.
So Elon and the Lockheed guys, they're saying the same thing. All that's happening here is news trying to create controversy. Okay, that's it. That's all that's happening. Oh yeah.
Right.
Always, honestly, that's, if you ask me, that's always.
That's how they get their ratings, right?
And not just always, but not only create controversy, they end up creating so much confusion.
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all heard, like you were saying first, when she started throwing in all that shit at the end, half of those drones we're talking about, they don't even work the same way. Why the fuck are you saying these things in one group when it's so different? So different. I was like, why did she throw that in one sentence? Like, to create confusion, like just literally trying to confuse everybody. And it's like just so that really is like well, we all know that. That's a big problem.
Right. All right. So on that topic, right, we're talking about drones and the potential of peer-to-peer and what others could be doing or are doing. What do you guys feel about this information? Let's play this right here.
Continues in New Jersey about dozens of drones hovering over homes and businesses, even military bases. It's been going on for almost a month now, and authorities still don't know who's responsible. NBC's Sam Brock shares how the confusion is leading to more demands for local, state, and federal lawmakers.
There's another one.
For almost a month, swarms of drones the size of small cars have been spotted over parts of New Jersey, alarming local residents.
I look to my left and I see two big drones. They were propeller driven, going very slowly.
And unnerving lawmakers who say they popped up in at least 10 counties. The issue prompting a meeting Wednesday attended by roughly 100 mayors and state representatives.
Are you telling me that in America, somebody can start flying drones and we have no clue what's going on?
Garden state leaders say they're confounded by the federal government's response and that of their own governor, who's preaching calm.
The most important point to say is we don't see any concern for public safety.
According to New Jersey Assemblywoman Dawn Fantasia, the drones are large, up to 6 feet in diameter. There have been sightings every night since November 18th from dusk to 11 p.m. The lights are usually turned off, making detection difficult, and most sightings are in unrestricted airspace. Perhaps even more concerning, military officials say they've documented at least 11 unauthorized drone incursions over nearby Picatinny Arsenal, a weapons development center. And President-elect Trump's Bedminster Golf Club is also in the area. All of it leading to hard questioning for the FBI on Capitol Hill.
What is going on in New Jersey?
We do not attribute that to an individual or a group yet. We're investigating, but I don't have an answer of who's responsible for that.
After one New Jersey congressman speculated this on Fox News.
Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones.
The Pentagon immediately knocking that theory down and saying there's no evidence of foreign influence.
There's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
Local police have been launching their own drones into the sky to give chase. So far, the mysterious drones continue to elude them.
All right. So, you know, from my perspective, I'm thinking about what was it, 2020 or 21 when China let that we let China float that fucking air balloon halfway across the country. A bunch of them, right? And we did nothing about it. I mean, I call that a failure of leadership.
We still don't know, and we still don't know what it caught. We still don't know what it was doing.
What information was being transported? What's the odds that this is opposing countries? And what's the odds? Do you guys think this is just some internal, you know, fuckery, or what are you guys thinking about that? First on.
So first off, it ain't no foreign somebody trying to attack us, okay? If they were trying to attack us, they'd attack us, okay? They're not. We're going to practice until we get tired of practicing, and we're going to know, okay? The second thing is, I don't know if y'all have watched the friggin' videos that are on the internet about these flying car drones. They have flying car drones that these rich people are buying, and they're flying around, okay? So
really?
Yes, it's happening.
I was going to ask that. I've never heard of a 6 foot. I was going to ask that same question for something like a 6 foot long.
That's a big drone. That's a lot of technology, ain't it?
A car, yeah. But it's look, they put 6 blades on it. Okay, some of them have 4 or 5, but most of them have 6 at least. So if one of the propellers goes out, it's still able to do it. But it's also got a parachute on top. So if anything goes wrong, you pop the parachute, you float down, you land in wherever you land, and it's just like a plane crash.
So how are they eluding the authorities?
So let's think about this, okay? If I have a flying car drone, okay, I don't have to register it that I know of with the FAA because of certain regulations. But even if I do, I can register it, and then I can go in my backyard and fly and go over to my neighbor's house in the other neighborhood and land and go visit with my neighbor and go back and get in my drone and come and fly back home. Right? I'd probably do that. And so if you're a passerby and you don't know what's going on and you see this drone hysteria and you see this one guy driving his drone over to his neighbor's house, we're getting into the Jetsons. I don't know if you realize it or not, but there's this thing that ties drones together now called a mesh network.
Yeah.
Okay. And what you can do is you can take and use a program. You can actually use AI to do this, to program your drones to go fly all these different patterns. And it's not hard to do. It's actually very easy. The thing you got to do is have all the drones and then know how to connect them. But some of this are people that are buying these kits and putting these mesh drones together. Even kids in high schools are doing it nowadays, and they're learning how to do it. Instead of fireworks, they're doing these mesh drones. And it's affordable, actually, look, there are parents nowadays that's got dollars, dude, to spend on their kids. And so they go tracking for this mesh network of drones that's flying above the neighborhood. And this by the time it gets reported, the kids already got the drones back down because they only last a few minutes. And he's in his backyard. And the neighbors may point him out or they may not. And you never know. Some of it is secret stuff. I guarantee you some of it is things that, and some of it might be friggin' aliens, dude, with green people walking around. I don't know.
From that perspective of the secret stuff, Billy, I know you just had a situation where you had some lawfare, or where the law was getting on you guys for flying drones. Like, can you explain on that a little bit? If that may be an issue, miscommunication.
Well, kind of like First Sergeant said, even if you know where, first off, when they're saying that, first I'm going to tell you this, I'm sure the police are sending up their own drones to chase it. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. That is, that's like that. When I heard that, I was like, I don't even know what the hell that means at all. But yeah, I mean, we literally, I'm like moving slow, and it's still hard to figure out who's doing what, and it wasn't me, and they thought it was me, and the actual drone pilot was in a completely different location, and they couldn't figure it out. And like he said, and this is a small drone that goes like 20 miles an hour. I'm imagining these big 6-foot drones probably go faster than that. You're not finding that. And I actually, because like First Sergeant said, you can see these dudes with these kits that build a C-130 that looks like almost a C. It's huge.
Wow.
Some shit like that over somebody's house, they think the same shit. What the hell is that? And it's just a rich dude playing around.
Right. Right.
Don't get me wrong. I will say this, First Sergeant. I don't know if you heard about the you live in Texas now, right, First Sergeant?
Alabama.
Had you heard about the Chechenians that were like hiding like cell phones in soldiers' yards and recording their families? And one of them actually got smoked by special.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, and that was my worry. Was like, if they are bold enough to walk into your neighborhood, bury a phone in a fake rock to record your house, shit, who's to say that they won't get a hold of these drones and fly them all over in the neighborhoods? So I was like, that's not you. But yeah, it was a literal soldier at Fort Bragg, Special Forces officer, whose family was being recorded in his front yard on a rock camera. And when the guy came to get the camera, he confronted the dude, and it was about 2 or 3 Chechenians from Detroit. And he smoked one of them. Other 2 got away, and now they've not really a lot talked about it anymore. So
there's more to that than soldier, at Fort Bragg. Yeah. There's way more than that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. What was the situation
right there? Chechnya,
right.
Uh-huh.
Hey, that would be a good excuse why he popped them.
Yeah.
Hey, he was playing the Jody story.
Yeah. Hey, he was watching my family. I had to give it to him. Like, oh, okay. He's watching your family, all right.
About that.
Hey, so Top. So speaking on the police and not just getting up and flying drones to chase you down. How did that happen? What happened with you? What was the circumstance that happened with you?
Yeah. You got to check out my video. Okay, so the other day,
link it in the description also.
So the other day, so I have a little YouTube channel called Drone American Adventures. And Dad and I fly my drone. I chase him around hunting and doing things. It's a thermal drone, It's got a thermal camera on it, so it can see the deer and stuff. And I know where they're at. And my dad knows, and just like spying. And I also do wildlife surveys and find people's deer that they've shot and they can't find, And so it's just a fun. It's a little extra income. But the other day, I was in a local area. At the 31st of October, I went to a local town and I did panorama videos of downtown and the main churches. I like to just do that, just take panoramas, and I put it on my Facebook. And so on the 31st of October, I had done a panel of a church, and the dang thing burned the other day. It was like they turned the heat on, and the whole historic 1800s church burned to the ground.
Wow.
And so the other day, I loaded up my wife and mother and said, let's go see the church that burned, and we want to take a video of it real quick before they tear it down or do whatever. And so it was a Friday afternoon. The church had burned a few days earlier. And so I went up, and on the way up, my buddy Cody calls me and says, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm heading to Abbeville. He's like, I'm in Newville. Can you help me find a hog I just shot? I'm like, yeah, okay. So I drove over there. We found his hog that he had shot, and he went to go get it. And so I went back to Abbeville. So it was getting late. So I was kind of in a hurry, and the sun was going down. And so I pulled up, and as I was pulling up, a local business owner was walking by, and I got out and said hi, and I got my drone unfolded, and I could see the top of the church right there on the other side of where this abandoned gas station that they fixed up to look really pretty, where I'd parked there before. And so long and short of it is I took my drone up and went over there and was taking a pano, and apparently the fire marshal guy was there on site, and he was taking pictures or something. And he came over there basically where I was. And you have to watch the video. But long and short of it is he threatened to arrest me for obstructing governmental operation, which there was no operation going on. It was again anyway. And he at one point he grabbed. Can you imagine, Ray? A person trying to grab my phone from my hand. I'm recording them.
Wow.
And the cop grabbed the phone from my hand, and I ripped my phone away from him. And when I did, it deleted the whole video. Basically, he abused his power.
Yeah.
Took all my licenses, and he walked away, walked out of sight so that I couldn't even see him. And my mother-in-law's got to go to the potty and all those kinds of things. And he's got this other law enforcement guy watching me. And after it was all over, he came and apologized, and he shook my hand, and he shook Penny's hand, and he didn't shake the other officer's hand, but he was there listening, and said he got scared when I saw my drone, and that he did. Anyway, you can watch the video. It is amazing, dude. It's going viral right now. There are, let me look at the stats. It's really wild having something go viral. Right now, there are 147 people watching that video in this hour, right? And
wow.
Yeah. I've never had anything do like that before. So normally when I get like 14 an hour, I'm like, yeah, all that. It's like, wow. So anyway, it's really wild that I'm glad it came out the way he did. And of course, Penny, my wife, says that because she was there, he didn't arrest me. But I wish he'd arrested my ass and taken me away. You can see it. I wasn't doing nothing wrong. I was flying my own phone, So
right.
So look. So to get to the topic, though, governmental overreach is one thing, but a big thing about drones though is everybody's got a drone. Okay, everybody has a new drone now. All these consumers are getting drones. So now we're hyper focused. We think we see a drone fly over, we're like, oh my gosh, the UFOs are out or whatever.
Right.
I get my drone out and I can fly at night. I can look for cats. I can look for raccoons. I can look for deer. I can look for, I've got the perfect drone to go spy on backyards of people. I got a zoom camera. I can zoom in 56 times, but I'm not out there trying to, that's just not my thing. Okay. But the technology's there. If you want to go be a creepzoid, you can be a creepazoid. I promise. And they're $6,500 is what I'm flying,
Wow.
and you see how big it is, but it's the camera that's important. That thermal camera it's absolutely amazing. If you're not subscribed to my Drone American Adventures YouTube channel, you should.
I will link that in the description.
Also, Marshall in the Middle. Okay, I do an interview series. I've done over 200, and Billy, we got to get you on where I interview people, heroes of mine, and it's called Heroes I Know, and you get a little coin, and a titanium thumb drive. Your story's saved. So if the Russians ever come and attack,
Where's my coin at, Tom?
I knew you were coming. It's coming. It'll get there. It takes a while, but it's got a serial number on it. Mine is 0034.
I like that.
Awesome.
And that's for my unit, 3rd of the 4th Air Defense Artillery Regiment, part of the 82nd Airborne Division.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so that's a couple things I got going on is Drone American Adventures and at Marshall in the Middle on YouTube and marshallinthemiddle.com. And I do all kinds of essays and spiritual stuff. I believe that we're all spiritual beings. I'm not a religious person. Okay. But I believe deep down inside with people like Luke, Ray, you and I have meshed from the time we met, right? We just had something that we knew that we were able to stand on the same side of something together. We didn't have a problem with that. And I'm going to tell you, I stand by that to this day. There's some spirituality at the center of who we are and what's going on. And let's not let religion mess it up, right? Let's be careful about that. Let's be careful about letting tribalism or racial things, or we know better. Those of us that have been through it know better. Now, we can't always change everything, but we can change how we react to it. We can change the things that we have control over and what we're worried about. I had a friend that called me the other day and he was like, oh my gosh, if Trump gets elected, he's gonna take all the immigrants and they're going to have to leave. And it's going to be a huge migration like the Trail of Tears. And I'm like, what are you thinking? What? Calm down, relax, And but that's what the media had spun up in his mind. He thought there was going to be a Bataan death march. So
yeah.
And speaking on the media on that subject, they're going to portray that because there's going to be incidents. There's going to be a lot of incidents where you're going to have people crying. It might be a little violent because of, so there's some violent people here that don't want to go along with what the ruling of the people is. The people had a mandate and, if people say get out my house, you got to get out their house. I mean, I just don't see how people are entitled to stand outside my door and say it's raining outside and I can't be selfish because I have some space inside and I don't know you. I have young kids in here. I'm not obligated to allow you to just come in here as a stranger.
You didn't put in on this.
Right.
Outside, I knew it was gonna rain. That's why I bought a house. You didn't put in on this. You don't get to open like, hey, you got more room than you. I know.
But there's going to be a lot of people that are going to record certain incidents, and it's going to look bad. The optics are not going to be good.
And
they're
they
not
know,
going to be good.
they know it, and they can't wait.
Yeah.
Which is the funny part. The funny part is not even that, oh, I want to help. It's, I can't wait for you to do this so that I can make a big deal. And it's like, so you don't want to be help. You want to be part of the problem. Yes, I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Hey, guys, it was wonderful. We done ran this hour up, man. Hopefully I can have you both back soon,
an hour?
sooner than later. Yeah, it fly by like it's nothing, man.
Felt
Like
like
it's nothing, man. Hey, we're gonna have another spicy topic next time you guys come on. I hope I can have you back soon, man. Top.
Right.
I appreciate you. Love you, guys. Love you, man. Love you. Sergeant First Class Billy Jones, First Sergeant Will Marshall. Hey, you guys have been wonderful, and we are out.